What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Counterculture Podcast. I'm here with my husband and co-host, Grant.
Hey, y'all.
This episode is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be talking about our parenting styles before we have kids.
Yes, all very speculative, but I think it's going to be fun.
This is supposed to be a very lighthearted episode. We don't have kids yet. We're not pregnant. We find ourselves talking about like what we would do when we have kids. And we just thought it would be a fun episode to do. We obviously have like very biblical reasons for, I think, what we want to do. So it does, it's kind of in line with this Christian podcast, but we're not set in stone. Again, we obviously don't have kids, so we don't know what we're going to do. But I just think it's fun to talk about, especially when we don't have kids yet. And then probably whenever we do have kids, we can come back to this episode and see how off we were or
Right, yeah.
on track,
Yep.
So let's get into it.
Sounds great.
All right. So what do you think is like one thing that comes to your mind that you think you would do as a parent?
I
I'm so curious.
will not let my kids be picky.
Oh, that's good.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I can somewhat understand having maybe 2 or 3 things that you don't like if you've already tried them. I knew people growing up, seemed like they were just picky for the sake of being picky.
Grant's also known for not being picky and for eating everything.
That's
so
true.
That's like kind of your thing.
Maybe I'm a little biased in that sense.
Like in his family, he's the one like that's the not picky one. Like if no one wants it, give it to Grant. Like
I just think you have to try it. And especially as like a really young kid, like you probably should just eat it because your parents are telling you to. I don't want to be like unreasonable, but I also know that everything that you make is amazing. So there's no reason for them not to like it. So
Thank you, baby. Well, I'm a little bit different. Like I don't think because someone doesn't like it, it means the cook did it wrong. Like if our kids don't like something, it doesn't mean that I made it bad. I think just people have different preferences. I think it's fine to have something that you just don't like and you don't have to eat it. And that's totally fine as long as it's not like a routine and it's like 10 things. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So
yeah, and I think that's fine. Like one or two things I understand.
yeah.
I think it's the pattern that I am determined to
Yeah.
break. Also, and this is just me, like I enjoy trying new things for the sake of trying new things. So if we bring home wild game, if I bring home wild game, and then all of a sudden my kids don't want to try it because, oh, it's buffalo or it's moose or it's deer, that's the kind of thing that I want to put like to nip that in the bud.
Well, and also I feel like we're going to be the same. You have to try it at least once.
Totally.
And then if you tried it and truthfully, I just really didn't like that. That's okay. You tried it, you ate it. I don't think we have to like force
Yeah.
it on them. But again, I will say like for me, if you don't like the dinner and you just choose not to eat it, you don't get to like choose something else.
Yeah, I was about to ask, are you
know,
making them something else?
Or like come up 2 hours later and get snacks because you didn't like dinner. Like, no, you can eat the leftovers in the fridge, and you don't have, and I also feel a little bit differently with like finishing your plate because like for some people it's just hard to do. Like you get full really quickly and it just hurts to get that full. Like I don't know. Yeah, like as long as you're not going back upstairs to like get something else or like a different snack or, I didn't like dinner, so I'm going to get this instead.
We're trying to have ice cream an hour later.
I think that's where we'll draw the line. Like we agree on that,
Yeah. What about you? What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Man, this is hard for me. I have so many. I do feel like I'm gonna be a pretty strict parent and, I'm gonna get a lot of backlash on stuff.
I'm sure we both will.
But yeah, I don't know that I'm gonna get into some of the controversial ones.
Just pick a couple of them.
I think maybe the first one that comes to my mind is like I preferably would not let our kids have like devices, cell phones and things until they start driving.
Totally.
And I think some people even think that's too young. I don't. I think in today's, how today's culture is going, like when you start driving, especially as a young girl, driving, you should definitely have some sort of way of communication. I don't want like our girls to have a smartphone necessarily, even like a slide. I grew up, I just had a little slide or something. I didn't get my first phone until I was 20 and I like a smartphone and I bought it myself. I thought that was great. Like if you want one, like we were allowed to have a phone, I think from maybe 17, 18. I don't remember the age. It was like if you want one, you can go buy one yourself. But who has $2,000 at that age to buy one? So it's probably not going to happen. But if they did work that hard for it, go get one. That's fine. But I thought it was great how I had it because I had a little slide. It was for safety. Like I don't need the internet. I didn't need all of that kind of stuff. I had an iPod and like I could download Instagram if I wanted it. only on Wi-Fi, like that kinda stuff. I could take pictures.
Like an iPod Touch, you're saying?
Yeah,
Hmm,
but I didn't have a phone until I was 20, and I thought that was, like, perfectly fine. I didn't have any problems with it. I was able to buy it myself. I was proud of it at that age, that kinda thing.
yeah,
But I do wish, like, having a phone when I started driving, I wish I had gotten that slide a little sooner. My whole thing is, you just need some form of communication. That's really what it is for me.
mm,
I wouldn't want my daughter to go out driving, if she's driving an hour for this thing and just no way to communicate.
right. Yeah, I agree,
But I
totally.
I don't want our kids to have, like, truly any form of a device, and it sounds cross-productive, whatever, like, we do social media. They're gonna see those things, but, like, not they don't need an iPad. Like, our kids
Mhm,
will not have an iPad. And I don't even really we don't watch TV, we don't scroll on social media, we don't spend time on the internet. It's our work, we upload it, and that's it. I'm very passionate about letting your child's brain develop, like, outside
mm,
on with the grass, and, like, that's the benefit from working from home, I feel like. They're gonna be able to do that, we can be with them, no devices.
yeah. And what about, like, video games?
I hate video games. I definitely think a kid needs some, a little bit of enjoyment and stuff, but that doesn't have to be on a screen.
I
I
agree.
don't feel bad for a kid that's not allowed to play video games.
Nope.
Like, they're not gonna suffer in any way,
Yeah,
and it's only beneficial to them. I wasn't allowed to play a lot of video games growing up, and I don't look at myself like, "Poor me." I'm like, "Thank the Lord I didn't waste those hours." I was
yeah.
outside playing, I was thinking, I was learning. What about you?
Yes, they're fun. They're also addicting. They're easy to abuse, and they're easy to get over, and if you'll just get outside, forget it exists, you won't be bored for that long.
Yeah.
So, I say they're a net negative in that sense.
Yeah, and, like, we also had a Wii, like, growing up, and we would
Mhm.
all play it, like, as a family. It was so fun. Like, family time together on a video game, like, that can happen too.
Yeah, that's cool.
We would all, do bowling or, like, tennis. Yeah, and it was a fun thing because it was different. It's not like we were playing the Wii all day. I'm talking, like, 6, 7, 8, like, to have phones and iPads and, like, the TV.
Yeah.
I mean, 4 and 5-year-olds nowadays know how to work a phone and scroll and take
Two-year-olds.
pictures.
Yeah,
It's
two-year-olds.
insane. Yeah.
You showed me video, it was, like, probably a year and a half
Yeah.
ago, but the parent was, like, leaning over the stairwell,
Yeah.
videoing their 2.5-year-old son, and he was I can't remember what he was supposed to be doing, probably, like, watching a little video on YouTube, and they
Mhm.
leaned over the stairwell,
Like, liked an Instagram
and
picture,
he
so
was, like, scrolling
yeah,
through YouTube instead of watching what he wanted to be watching, looking for something else,
yeah,
and they were like, "What are you doing, Bubba? Are you watching the show?" And he, like, quick clicked on it, was like, "Yes,"
mhm,
he's 2 years old.
yeah,
How does he know how to run a phone? Because he's been abusing it for, a year now.
yeah,
So, I just strongly disagree with all of that.
yeah, and I also think, like, if you give and I'm talking, like, babies to toddlers, if you give them some sort of, like, device or, like, thing to occupy them so you can go do something else, I think it's the distracting that I have an issue with, like, they should be able to sit with a toy with a box for a while, and, like, it only stops working when you give them something else like, more entertaining than that other thing, and now you've raised the bar on the, like, entertainment
Mhm.
status, and now you have to come up with something bigger than that, and when you do that, yeah, of course, you're gonna need, like, these little cartoons on a screen that's loud and colorful and, like, distracting. That's all that's gonna work because that's all they've seen every single time, so, like, you just need to be able to let them entertain themselves, like, yes, they're gonna cry and throw a fit, but, like, at the end of the day and I used to babysit a lot of kids, so it's not like I've never done this, I would realize, like, if you just let them figure it out instead of trying to figure it out for them and giving them a distraction, let them distract themselves, they will start to learn and they'll never get bored because they've figured out, like, "Oh, I have a hand, like, I have fingers now," like, their brain is actually starting to work. Instead of just giving them some stimulation and form of, like, dopamine that's gonna last for 10 minutes,
Mm,
and then you've gotta give them something else, a new toy, and before you know it, you have and something that really bothers me is, like, these people have, like, this huge room with, like, hundreds of toys and colors. I don't know why that bothers me, but, like, I do not want that many toys. Like, give them a box, give them something to color with, make something. But, these rooms full of toys that they will never touch, and you see these kids, they sit down and they have, like, 8 toys in front of them. My mom goes to, like, try to take a shower, and it's like And I've seen those little videos where they're like, they play with this one and then, oh, and now this one, and they'll touch it and then they throw it and now this one. It's like too much. It's stimulating their mind to a point where they can't even focus on anything.
Mhm.
Whereas if you left them in like an empty room with like a teddy bear, they will be longer distracted with that teddy bear because it's all that they have, and they're gonna have to look at the color and the texture and the feel and, like, the size of it,
Right.
and it's just what I've seen, like, whenever I was babysitting, I've babysat, newborn to 12, you know what I mean? And it's just what I've seen that when there's too many options, it's worse, you
Yeah, and
know?
that's not unique to kids either. I mean, that's been scientifically proven that even adults would be happier going into an ice cream store with 3 choices
Yeah,
than they would going into an ice cream store with 15.
yeah,
Scientific fact at this
yeah.
point.
And I don't know if it's, like, I think it's also just too materialistic, like, I'm kind of more on of a minimal person, like, I just don't want 12 teddy bears in different colors and sizes and, like, toys that make noise and colorful. It's just, like, too much.
You know what those are the equivalent of? And this is perfect because it gets into my next point. I know both
What?
of us agree on this. Exorbitant amount of toys and the colorfulness and the noise and the screens, they're all the exact same effect as sugar.
Mm.
I think both of us would agree that we're probably not gonna do sugar.
Well, not never, but, like, at least in a certain age, yeah.
Yeah. What age do you have in mind?
I don't really have an age because, like, I don't know, this is hard for me because I know most people disagree and they'll think you're just, like, depriving your child. Um, I think for me, maybe, like, I don't know, 5 or 6,
Yeah,
4 or
okay, I was gonna
5,
say like 3 or 4.
3 or 4, yeah.
Bare minimum 1, right? You
For
know?
sure. I know that for sure.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason your one-year-old needs to have sugar.
Mhm. This is a side note, but we were talking about this the other day. She asked you just said, like, "If I left you alone with a newborn,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
could you take care of it?"
Someone
Um,
asked me that first, and then I asked you.
yeah, and I'm like, "Yeah, sure," but then I started thinking about it, and I'm like so, like, I assume there's milk somewhere or we have formula. I would just probably follow the directions on the formula. My mind got stuck. I'm like, "Wait, a human being can't survive 3 days without water.
Yeah.
Do babies drink water?"
Well, you said you would give it water, which was the concern, and then I said, "You know you can't give a baby water."
Yeah.
And you were like, "What do you mean? Yes, you can. You
I was
have
just
to have
like,
water to survive."
you have to have water.
And I was
So
like,
so then immediately I'm thinking, well, do you mix the water into formula and give it formula and milk? Like he's got to get water somehow. But yeah, apparently you can't do that. So am I crazy? This is what I'm trying to say. Like somebody help me out here. Am I crazy for thinking that a baby needs water or is that just common
it
knowledge?
it's just because we don't have a baby yet, like, it's I had to learn that too, but I know, like, a little thing for me is not letting your kids act like wild animals.
Mm,
Like, I'm not talking about, like, they can never just go outside and play, but I'm talking about, like, screaming in the house and being so loud that you can't have a conversation and, like, any rule for me, I think it's just a very generic, like, anything that you wouldn't do as a adult, I don't think there's a separate excuse for the child.
mm.
Like, "Oh, well, they're just a kid, so they're allowed to scream and run around naked." Like, keep your children clothed as you would be. Like, if it's not appropriate for us to do, I don't think that that's wise to, like, let your child do just because they're a kid. You're still as a parent, like, you are representing them forever, like, until they're 18, like, you have to raise them and you're in charge of their dignity, the respect that they get. You shouldn't embarrass them like that. And a lot of people say they're kids, like they won't even remember. It doesn't matter. Like you should still have enough respect for your kid to not let them be annoying to other people.
Yeah. Well, and more than that, especially even more now than when we were kids, but even when we were kids, like home videos exist now.
Yeah.
And that stuff's going to be immortalized
And people are posting them
and people are
online.
posting them.
Yeah.
Like that kid, that child
Yeah.
is or will be an adult
Yeah.
at some point. They're not going to be your little boy, your little girl forever. And you're posting or just taking pictures. Like you told me this and I agree. I just never had thought about it like this way. Like if it will be or if they will be an adult eventually, treat them like an adult now.
Yeah,
And
that's how I feel.
and I totally agree.
A lot of people think that's just stealing the childhood, thing from them. Like that's not fair. Let them be a kid once. They're welcome to be a kid and to get their energy out, in the appropriate setting. I don't think it's respectful to whoever's home it is to let them run around screaming like when you can't have a conversation at the dinner table. Like we were raised, our parents both of our parents, you sit at the table and you ask to be excused.
Totally.
You're not allowed to just get up and run around, and then now the
Mhm.
parent can't finish their meal because they're having to go get little Jimmy who's, you know, running around crazy. And it's all about teaching them respect and to be respectful even as a kid. I don't think there's a separate excuse just because they're a kid.
Yeah.
So like little things like that, like they will always sit at the table and they'll eat when we eat.
Mhm.
They're being added to our life. It's not like now we have kids and our lives change for them. They're going to be added to our routine and our life because they're a little human. The human respect of things, they get as much dignity as like I respect Grant.
Mhm.
I'll respect my son in the same way, even if he's 2, even if he's a newborn. I will respect him enough to not just change his diaper in public and post
Oh,
videos of him in a diaper and like let him run
or
around the
less.
house crazy because I respect him enough to teach him not to do those things.
Mhm.
And so finishing your meal and asking to be excused and, saving, like, yeah, you can get rowdy, I'm sure they'll be wrestling with
Totally.
you,
Oh, yeah.
but
Oh,
I'm
we'll
just,
be crazy, but
yeah,
there's a time and a place for everything.
yeah,
And they'll be kids and they'll be wild. They'll be little boys and they'll be little girls, and we're not
yeah,
gonna steal their childhood. We just
yeah,
don't necessarily think treating them like an adult when they're in the house, at the table, or anything like that steals their childhood,
yeah.
you know?
And I think it's about learning, the dinner table is family time and it's about communicating about your day.
Yep.
And when you can't do that with your kid because they're a kid, like, oh, they don't understand. Yes, they do. I'm sorry, but kids understand way more than parents give them credit for.
Mm.
I've had conversations with 3-year-olds. How was your day? What did you do today? What did you learn today? What's your favorite food you had today? They should be able to ask you questions back. I mean, it's the cutest thing when you can have a conversation with a 3-year-old.
Right.
It is possible, I've
Yeah.
seen it, but it's the amount of respect that you give them and dignity. If you just let them scream their head off and they choose not to eat it and you're annoyed and you're burnout because, they're not happy and you don't try, like they're not going to be able to do that. But when you sit down at the dinner table and say, "Oh no, 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 we actually don't scream at the table. We're going to talk and we're going to include you as a
Mhm.
person because you're a person whether you're 2 or 10." Um, I ask questions to Grant and we'll be asking our kids questions. They're going to be able to be taught those skills so that whenever they can
Yeah.
talk, they're going to be able to say those things too. Like at the dinner table, you sit there and you're quiet during the prayer and, those kinds of things.
Mhm.
So I just
Yeah.
think it's a very important thing for us to treat our kids with respect and dignity as a human and not give them that excuse like, well, they're just a kid, they don't understand. I just think talking to your kids too, like maybe less baby talk, just really talking to them
Mm.
makes them, it builds that ability to talk to people.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the more you talk to them like an adult, the more times they'll ask you, like, "What's that word mean?
Mhm.
What's this word mean?" I remember asking my parents that all the time
Yeah.
because they would use big words with me.
Yeah.
Maybe not even on purpose, they just had a very good vocabulary, but I think it was probably on purpose. And they
Yeah.
would say big adult sentences, and then I'd be, "Hey, what does that word mean?"
Mhm.
And then I would try to use it in a sentence, you know?
Yeah. I love talking to kids, and you can tell when, like, they're not really talked to at home, but all the kids that I babysat, they were so nice and, like, I just remember I would really try this is another thing, but, like, I really don't love to be on my phone or on any electronics in front of children because it really from a young age just it builds this whole persona of like I don't care about you enough, like you're a kid and you're expected to be treated like a kid and act like a kid and what I'm doing isn't as important. But like whenever I was babysitting, like I would never be on my phone. I would just sit there and like talk to them. I'm in their world kind of like show me your world. And like the little boys that I would babysit and they're just so cute. Like they would talk and have conversation and before you know it, they're learning how to ask me questions. Like
Mhm.
they can see me as a human, not just as like this authority figure
Right.
telling them what to do and then ignoring them for the day.
Yeah.
I hated that. And that's really what creates like a smart kid and they have the ability to bond. And like whenever you're in public, they don't find it hard to just say, "Oh, hi," like to a stranger
Mhm.
because they don't see that person as like a threat or an authority figure. Like they see them as a human.
Mhm.
And so I just think talking to kids is, like, so fun, and if you're not able to, it really shows, like, their parenting style, like, when you talk to a kid and they just, like, scream and run away, it's like, that's scary to them, they're not used to it. You can just tell, like, who's been practicing that.
Mhm.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't wanna be, like, on electronics in front of them. Like, practice what you preach. You can't tell your kid not to do something and then do it yourself,
Mhm.
you know? That's big for me too. Like,
Yeah.
you can't tell them no device, no screen time, and then after they go to bed, you spend 3 hours watching TV. Like, they can hear the TV, they know, but that just creates, like, a, "I'm allowed to and you're not."
Mhm.
Like, you just have to be able to say, like, "Oh, we don't do that, and so that's why we're teaching you not to." It's not that it's wrong, but, like, in our family, we don't do that, and you practice it, and they see, like,
Yeah.
"Oh, mom and dad are, doing the same thing they're telling me, like, so I'm gonna do it with them instead of I'm not allowed to." And then
Right.
I hate, "When you're older, you'll be able to do this."
Mhm.
It's like, what's wrong with me now?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like as a kid, if I was told that, like, "You'll get to do this when you're older," like, watch a certain movie or something, like, with bad scenes in it. It's like, how is that okay for me as an adult to watch some dirty scene, but, like, my kid's not allowed to until a certain age? What age is that where it's just, like, okay to see that? Like, it's never okay.
Mhm.
I hate that for kids, you
Yeah.
know? You should be able to spend time with your kids and watch a clean movie together.
Yeah, I think there are some specific cases where some of that is unavoidable, not in the movies category,
That's all
but
I was talking about in the
yeah,
movies.
the whole rules for thee and not for me thing is definitely hard. I definitely agree with you there.
Yeah.
My personality type tends to see like injustices more than anything. I just want to be fair, like and if somebody else is being mistreated, then I'll put myself out so that we're both fair. And so I'm hoping to do that as a parent as well. If I take little Johnny out to a hockey game for like a one-on-one hangout, then I'm going to take Sally to the coffee shop or wherever, to get breakfast. Like
Yeah, you've always said
fair,
that.
you've got to be equal.
Yeah, and that's how our parents were, and we saw
Totally.
that, and,
Yeah.
I think it is a lot like how we were raised. We both loved our childhoods and how we grew up, and, you know, you just tend to do that, but I also just think it's the right thing to do,
Hmm.
in a lot of these scenarios, and I do believe that every child is different, but it doesn't change, like, these are really just core principles I feel like we're gonna do.
Yeah. What do you think about like if we have more than one boy? How wild is too wild? Like, are we buying them a set of boxing gloves or
Oh, yeah, like, let them be boys, like, there is well, this is another thing for me, like, boys and girls are different. They
totally?
have different,
Totally.
hobbies and needs and all that kinda stuff, and little boys,
Drives.
even as men, they have adrenaline, they have energy. Like, you've gotta let them get that energy out. Let them be
Yeah.
boys.
And a chip on their shoulder too. Like that's a big thing. Especially I can speak to this because I grew up in a household with 4 boys, myself included. So I had 3 brothers, 2 younger, 1 older, and we were always every week, it reset. Like, "Oh, I think I can beat him this week." Always wrestling, always fighting, not out of anger, just literally, "I think I can get him this week."
Yeah.
So, I think that's a huge part of it, and I think that should be encouraged.
Yeah, but what I was saying is I just think that boys, like, they need competition and energy and adrenaline, and I love all of that, let them be boys, let them be crazy and wild, they don't have to be annoying and scream and do it in the house, like, that's all that I was really talking about,
Mhm.
but, like, buy them the boxing gloves and let them, get their energy out,
Yeah.
you know? I do think it's different for girls, I will say.
Totally.
Little girls
Totally.
I feel very passionate about this, which I don't know if I'm gonna get into all of this because people just, will go crazy with it. But, little girls don't need that. Little girls don't need to scream and to fight and to run around and to be crazy. Like they just we that's not a need for girls. And I think so many people have put kids in a category.
Mhm.
Let the kids be wild and let the kids run around that we've truly lost all differences between boys and girls. They're different. They're different as women and men. They're different as little boys and little girls, different things. And so I hate to see like little girls being wild and running around and screaming because truthfully, if you wouldn't let them do that at 18, like don't let them do that as a kid.
Mhm.
For boys, like, the competition never goes away, they need that, like, that's fine. But little girls, we have no separation between girls and boys, and this is something I've kinda talked to you about, I haven't heard anyone else word it this way. It's, like, okay for girls to be tomboys and for girls to do, like, the guyish thing, but when guys do the girly thing, like, it's wrong and it's, like, gay or whatever. And I think that little girls, like, there's no category where it's like, obviously, here's an example, like, for little boys, it's, like, not okay for them to, like, paint their nails or else they're, like, gay or something like that. But for a little girl, they can go and, be crazy and be wild, and they can go play all these sports and do football if they want, and that's just okay. You're just more of a tomboy, but you're not, like, it's not crazy. And I think for little girls, especially when they're little, like, whenever they're not taught differently, they don't wanna get dirty, they wanna be a little girl, they're the caretakers, they want all of these, like, the way that God made us is to be, you know, homemakers and caretakers, and for the little boys to or for men to be providers and to protect. That's just the way we were made, and so I
Mhm.
love to see a parent treat their little girls and little boys differently in the way that they were made, and I really feel like that's something that I would like to do with our kids is not let my little girl do the same things as my little boys and teach her that that's good. And to teach my little boys, like, no, we don't do ballet and paint our nails
Mhm.
because you're a boy and you do these things. But the girl needs that example too. And that's what I'm saying. As little girls, like, we do everything else the same as boys, but the boys can't do the things as the girls. And it's just like a mixed,
Yeah.
you know, thing. Like, an example is like, you know, if you and our future sons are all down there wrestling, like, I wouldn't hop in
Mhm.
because I'm a lady,
Yeah.
and so our daughter shouldn't hop in just because she's 8, and, like, it's just about teaching them the differences, like, that's for boys to do, and there
Mhm.
does need to be a difference, and that's where we get this merge of, like, everything's okay and, like, girls do the same thing as boys do the same thing as girls because 'cause they're kids. It's like they have this separate category where everyone's merged, and then you're just supposed to learn as you get older as a Christian, like, "Oh, girls are supposed to do this and guys are supposed to be the
Right.
provider," like, you have to teach them at a young age so that they're not confused when they're older. Like, girls and boys are different, you know? So,
Yeah.
like, we will teach our little girl, and that was something that I grew up with, like, my mom when my 2 brothers and my dad, they'd be wrestling in the floor, just being all tough and stuff, and mom would encourage me, "You need to go get them some water." Like, "Go have some water ready for them." So I'd run upstairs and, like, have 3 glasses of water and, like, some protein bars and for their little break, and they'd run up there and eat the stuff, and I enjoyed that. It was fun for me because I'm like, I'm taking care of them because 'cause they're
Mhm.
working so hard, like, it's not like, "Oh, the little girl just has to sit on the sidelines and not get to play, and
Right.
she's left out."
Yeah.
You have to teach a little girl that there's different roles for her, and they're good,
Yeah.
and it feels good to a little girl, like, it's more fun I'm sorry, but it's when you raise a little girl to be a girl, like, it's more fun to do those things than to be on the floor wrestling and getting hurt.
Yeah.
That's not fun for a little girl unless you teach her that it is.
Yeah.
So
I can see the comments rolling in as we speak.
no.
It is crazy that we've been so brainwashed as a culture. Like, even
Mhm.
when you said that, my mind was like, "Ugh."
Yeah. The Lord made men and women different, and that's a good thing.
Mhm.
We're not supposed to be equal and the same. Like we're different. We're still respected and people use the word equal as like fair, like
Mhm.
we're supposed to be treated differently. Like no, we're treated the same as people. We have different roles. We're not equal in our roles. We're still treated equally as like respected humans. And people just like to use that as like, "Oh, no, women are the slave and husbands are like the kings." It does say women are supposed to be the helpers, and I think that when you don't teach kids that and you just put them in the same category and they're just kids and wild and expect them to grow as a Christian and kind of like figure it out for themselves, just makes it a little bit more difficult. When I think as a kid, if you can really show them the differences, even at 3 and 4 years old, that like dad goes out and works and is sweating and hard, like labor intensive, and the little girls and the wives don't do that, the better off they will be.
Yeah. Yeah, and, it seems it seems extreme to say that, but if you think about it like this, a parent has had their whole life to decide what to do, what's right, what's wrong. And so they're saying, like, well, yeah, they're kids right now. We'll teach them those things later. The kid, that's all he knows. That's
Yeah.
all she knows. Then that kid turns 18, and now they have to completely change the entire way they've lived for their entire lives.
Yeah.
You know, at 26, 18 felt like, 18 feels like I was just a baby, even just at 26. So imagine when I'm 40
Yeah.
and a parent of an 18-year-old, then it'll be easy for me as a 40-year-old to say, well, yeah, like you can just decide to change. But that 18-year-old, that's his entire life or her entire life that they've
Mhm.
lived that way. You've taught them that way their entire life. Whereas if you'll just teach them the right way that we are different as men and as women from the very early age, they never have to change.
Mhm.
It's baked in.
In my experience babysitting, that was my full-time thing, and I truly got to see the differences. You know, boys just have so much more energy, and little girls are content with a spoon for a very long time. And little girls like to be clean. It just comes naturally for them. Little boys love to get dirty. If there's dirt involved, if there's some kind of energy, if there's competition, they're always, "I'll race you to here." You know, little girls don't start off that way. They just see that and then they want to do it too because that's what their brothers are doing.
Mm,
Um, but in my scenario, in my cases, like that's what I saw. The little girl, ew, like I don't want that. Like it comes naturally to them. That's the way the Lord made them. Is like little girls are not made for labor intensive things. Like
right.
they want to stay inside and play. Like the little girls I would babysit, they wanted to play dolls and do hair and like the kitchen and play and be clean. And the little boys wanted everything opposite. You know, it's just the way that they were made. And I think if we just stop merging them all together and making either the boy do the girl things and the girls do the boy things, like that's where it gets kind of just confusing. I think it's just easier on the kid, you
Yeah.
know? But and it is hard, like, being the only caretaker and having to, like, separate the 2. I was only one person, so, like, I would kinda say, like, "Okay, let's stay inside now for her, and then we'll go outside with him," and it is hard, I'm not saying it's easy. Like, I'm sure it will be difficult when you have both genders, but I do think it's important
Yeah.
to do both things at some point,
Mhm.
you know?
I totally agree. And, like taking my daughter to a job site. I see the comments rolling in and this woman, she's like, "Oh, my dad took me to the job site all the time. I had so much fun." That's not the point. I know that my daughter will have fun on a job site with me, but the point is that's not benefiting her in any way. It's teaching her skills that she shouldn't
Yeah,
have to know.
yeah.
So, I feel
I
like
just
there's a difference. I know that it would be fun. I'm sure
yeah.
you had fun when your father took you to a job site.
And I'm also gonna say, like, it's not, like, ever. I'm just talking
Totally.
about, like, a daily thing, like, taking
Yeah.
your daughter to work with you, like, it's just not as appropriate as the son.
What do you think about, like, forced labor? That's a
Forced
really, really
labor?
hard term.
What?
That's a really hard term for what I'm trying to describe, but, like, having chores that your kids have to do.
Oh, yeah, like, that's yeah, a given.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it forced labor. Like, taking the trash can out is not what I would
Yeah.
what do you think about putting your kids online?
That's a good question.
It's maybe
There's
a
a
lot.
lot of weirdos online, but in general, I'm not against it.
Mhm.
You just have to play by a certain set of rules,
Yeah.
and we can get into that, but what do you think?
I truly think it's different for each family,
Mhm,
and, you know, it's just every relationship is just different, every person, what they've gone through is completely
mhm.
different, and the Lord speaks to us in different ways, so
Totally.
in general, for what I will say is it's just up to the parents,
Yeah,
truly.
definitely subjective. I just mean, like,
Yeah.
what do you think?
For us speaking, purely off of just our own lives, I don't see an issue with it because we will never put our kids online, like, not fully clothed, not, just posting them in a diaper, posting them doing something wrong, posting them throwing a fit. Anything, again, that would disrespect a human being, regardless of the age, is what I have a problem with. I don't think you can just put, like, a label on front of it saying I'm posting my kids online. I just wouldn't put my kids online in a bad light, just like I wouldn't put any of us online in a bad light.
Right.
I don't have an issue with, like, putting us online because unfortunately, when you go to the store, when you go anywhere, when you see people, like, anyone can have any kind of thought and, you're in a sinful world whether you wanna admit it or not. I don't feel like there's anything that's beneficial with, like, blurring our kids' faces or anything for me personally.
I mean, I think in a way that makes people more curious.
Yeah.
People want what they can't have, and if there's a weirdo that's pursuing stuff like that, in a way, I can see how that might make them want to get closer.
Yeah, and for me, like, you know, you're putting everything is at risk even posting ourselves are at risk. So anyways, I will say, like, again, it's purely just up to the family. I don't think the Lord has spoken to us in that way. I mean, maybe it's just because we don't have kids.
It's true.
That could completely change, like, if I have a baby and then I'm like, "Oh, nope, changed my mind." That could totally happen. I
Totally.
truly feel like it's just up to the parent. So many parents feel that that's not okay and totally respectful, and that's what they should do. You know, if the Lord has told you not to do something, like, you don't do it.
Mhm.
But for
Absolutely.
me right now, I don't see, again, like, I just would never post my children, like, in a bad light or
Mhm.
not fully clothed. Just like we wouldn't post ourselves in a bathing suit. I wouldn't do that to my child. Like,
Yeah.
it's all the same. I don't see anything wrong with it if someone chooses to post their children because, you know, I just don't think there's anything wrong with that. If you
Yeah.
take a picture of your child, like, it's on the internet, whether you want to think it is or not. People are crazy whenever you go somewhere in real life, even at your church and with your family and friends in the grocery store, whether you wanna believe it or not, it's just a sad truth, and I
Yeah.
just don't see the difference, I guess, in social media.
Mhm.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah. No, and I agree, at some point that's just like sheltering them at some point.
Yeah,
But let's take that a step further. There's a lot of states that are outlawing, quote unquote, monetizing your children online.
yeah.
What's your opinion on that?
I think that's fine, like, if you're literally just making money off of your child, like, doing. A lot of times it's the kid, like, doing something wrong, like sneaking around and doing this and, like, sneaking out of bed and doing this or, like, making dirty jokes as a kid or saying bad words. That's what's seen as funny, like, to people is, like, when a kid does it, and I do think that's wrong. I do think it's not really fair to me, I feel like, for a state to just ban, like, a family channel or something, like, when they're not doing anything wrong.
Yeah, that's interesting. Um, on the flip side of that, there's states that are actually outlawing that where you can't quote unquote monetize your kids online. And I think that's a band-aid on a bullet hole in a lot of ways. There are cases where parents are forcing their kids to have an online presence. The kids are 8, 10, 12 years old and they're abusing that because people like, kids doing cute things or kids doing bad things or kids doing really anything. Um, and parents are taking advantage of that and quote unquote monetizing. I think that is wrong in some ways. A parent shouldn't be abusing that. But I think it's very different if you have a healthy family channel. You and your wife have been making content for years. Now you have a kid, you're sharing your kid online. That should not be considered monetizing your kid.
Mhm.
Your kid is now a part of your content. And,
Yeah.
it's a lot like this is going way far to the right. But in my mind, this is a lot like gun control
Mhm.
because you're taking a tool. It's really not exactly the same, but follow my metaphor here, if you will. You're taking a tool that is nothing more than a force multiplier. It can be used for good, it can be used for bad, it can be not used at all. It's just a tool. It cannot do anything on its own. And you're regulating that because some people used that tool in the wrong way.
Yeah.
That is backwards. Like, we have to, as a culture, see not just with gun control, not just with kids, with anything. Don't regulate the tool, punish the wrongdoer.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not getting anywhere by saying no more family channels. You're not getting anywhere. There's so many good family channels to every one bad family channel. I
Yeah.
mean, this, I'm sure, I'm sure that you could mathematically prove there are so many more good ones than bad ones,
Yeah.
but they're regulating it statewide. I think it was Tennessee that just did it. I think Florida did it, where you're not allowed to. Like, if your kids are in your video, instantly that video is no longer able to be monetized.
Yeah.
I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's right. It's a blanket statement
Yeah.
that's not fixing the problem.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I completely agree, because we don't advocate for the kids that are being forced to do that. Like, it's obviously wrong. It doesn't take any smart person to
Mhm.
see that. I think it should be up to the family. Just like posting your kid. I mean, everyone's heart is different. And when you start making laws out of things, that just create this there's just no benefit. I don't think that there should be any law on how you raise your family because to one family it might be so wrong to them and they will never do it and the Lord has told them not to do it and they shouldn't. But then on the other side, what if someone has prayed about it and it does feel like this is what they should do and now they're not allowed?
Yeah.
And so if the roles were reversed, that would be wrong. The other way, it would be wrong.
Mhm.
Just like it is like you said, I literally thought of gun rights, like there's going to be people who abuse the law no matter what. We
Yeah.
live in a sinful world. But just because there's people that abuse the law doesn't mean there's also people that use it in a good way. Just like you said, it's like a band-aid, over the situation. It just doesn't work like that. And the Lord speaks to everyone in different ways and I think that's what makes it so nice to live in a free country is because you can raise your kids however you want. For one family, it might and we didn't even touch on public school, I feel like that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
For one family, they may feel that public school is what the Lord told them to do, and I'm gonna send my kids here. To another family, no, it's not even an option. I'm homeschooling my kids, there's no way. And the beauty of, living in a free country is to get to choose how you want to raise your family according to how the Lord is leading you personally. And so when there's laws put in place that make you not be able to choose, I just think that gets dangerous no matter what the law is. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. I totally agree.
this has been a fun
No
episode.
doubt.
I feel
Lots
like
of
we could
speculation, lots
yeah,
of, um, guesswork, I guess, but
controversy.
it'll be fun to come back and watch it,
Yeah,
when we're expecting or when we have kids and stuff.
yeah. And I'm sure, we'll probably change our mind on a lot and we'll see how we do that.
Yeah.
But for now, that's what our opinion is. And I thought it would just be fun to kind of put ourselves in the hot seat and y'all can roast us however much you want.
Yep.
But
We're
it's
good for
been
that.
fun. So
Cool. All right, guys. Well, this is pretty much all that we've got for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching the Counterculture Podcast. If you like this type of content, please tune in. We have new episodes dropping every Monday morning at 6 a.m. We also do short form content on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. And with that, I think we're out of here, guys. We'll see you next week.
bye guys.